Discovering Shangri-La, the lost paradise found again. Chapter 1, a postcard from the past. The envelope arrived on a rainy morning in New York City, its edges frayed and postmark faded. Amelia Harper, a freelance journalist with a penchant for uncovering forgotten stories, flipped it over in her hands. No return address, just her name scribbled in hurried penmanship. Inside, a single postcard bore the image of a snow-capped mountain range under a deep cerulean sky. Beneath the photo, in blocky type, it read, "Shangri-La, Paradise Found." Amelia frowned. Shangri-La was a myth, a fictional place dreamed up by James Hilton in his novel decades ago, or so she thought. Flipping the card, she noticed a short, cryptic message scrawled in red ink, "Not all myths are fiction. Find the horizon." Her heart raced. Amelia had built her career chasing leads others deemed impossible, but this was different. This wasn't just a clue, it was a challenge. Chapter 2, The Forgotten Pilot. Amelia's search began at the New York Public Library, where she combed through archives of maps, folklore, and anything remotely related to Shangri-La. Her efforts were rewarded with a single lead, a mention of an American pilot, Jack Corder, who had vanished in 1937 after claiming he'd discovered a hidden valley in the Himalayas. The trail led her to Jack's only living relative, a reclusive niece named Margaret, who reluctantly handed over his journal. The leather-bound notebook was brittle with age, its pages filled with sketches of mountains and notes about an ancient civilization hidden from the world. But one entry stood out. March 7, 1937, "The horizon isn't lost, it's waiting to be found. The valley glows like gold under the sun. Shangri-La is real." Margaret whispered one last detail before Amelia left. "They said Jack's plane was spotted over Nepal before he disappeared. That's where you'll find your answers." Chapter 3, Into the Himalayas. Amelia arrived in Kathmandu under the shadow of the Himalayas, her camera and notebook her constant companions. Hiring a local guide named Tenzing, she began the arduous trek into the mountains. Tenzing spoke of legends passed down through generations, stories of a sacred valley where time stood still and its inhabitants lived in eternal peace. Days turned into weeks as they navigated treacherous passes and battled biting winds. The journey tested Amelia's resolve. She battled altitude sickness, narrowly avoided a deadly avalanche, and endured sleepless nights haunted by dreams of golden horizons. Just when Amelia began to doubt the journey, they stumbled upon a sheer cliff overlooking a hidden valley. Below, a shimmering city sprawled, its golden rooftops glinting in the sunlight. Amelia gasped. It was just as Jack had described. Chapter 4, Shangri-La Revealed. Descending into the valley, Amelia felt a strange warmth envelop her, as if the very air were alive. The people of Shangri-La greeted her with serene smiles, their ageless faces glowing with vitality. The High Lama, an elderly man with piercing eyes, welcomed her into the city's heart, a grand temple adorned with intricate carvings. "The world above is filled with chaos," he said, his voice like a whisper carried on the wind. "Here, we have found harmony. But the balance is fragile." Amelia was struck by the beauty and tranquility of Shangri-La. She marveled at the advanced irrigation systems, the intricate artistry of their temples, and the harmonious way the community lived. But beneath the surface, she sensed an unspoken tension. Why had the High Lama allowed her to find this place? And why now? Chapter 5, The Secret of Eternal Life. As days turned into weeks, Amelia immersed herself in the culture of Shangri-La. She learned of the mysterious blue lotus flower that grew only in the valley, a plant said to hold the secret to eternal life. The High Lama revealed that Jack Corder had once been here, but his greed for the flower's power led to his banishment. Amelia's heart sank. Had she, too, come seeking something she didn't fully understand? One night, she discovered an ancient text in the temple's library. It spoke of a prophecy: when the horizon is lost, the valley shall fade. Amelia realized the peace of Shangri-La depended on its secrecy. Her arrival had disrupted the balance. Amelia also learned more about the High Lama's wisdom. He had lived for over 2 centuries, guiding Shangri-La through eras of change. His words carried the weight of countless lifetimes, and yet his demeanor was one of humility. Chapter 6, Shadows on the Horizon. News of Amelia's discovery began to leak back to the outside world, thanks to a satellite phone she'd used to send updates to her editor. Explorers and fortune seekers started to converge on the region, threatening to expose Shangri-La to the chaos of modern civilization. Amelia was torn. Should she protect this hidden paradise or share its wonders with the world? The High Lama gave her an ultimatum: you must choose. Leave now and ensure our survival, or stay and risk the valley's destruction. As outsiders drew closer, the valley's once serene atmosphere grew tense. The inhabitants, who had lived in peace for centuries, prepared for the possibility of defending their home. Amelia realized the gravity of her actions. She had to make things right. Chapter 7, The Horizon Restored. On her final day in Shangri-La, Amelia stood at the edge of the valley, gazing at the horizon. The decision weighed heavily on her. She had found the story of a lifetime, but at what cost? In the end, she chose to protect the valley's secret. Before leaving, the High Lama gifted her a single blue lotus flower. A reminder of what you have seen, he said. And a symbol of what must remain hidden. Amelia retraced her steps back to the world above, the valley disappearing behind her as though it had never existed. Tenzing stayed behind, his bond with Shangri-La stronger than the pull of the outside world. Chapter 8, The World's Curiosity. Back in New York, Amelia wrote her article but kept Shangri-La's location a mystery. The story, titled Lost Horizon, A Paradise Beyond Time, captivated readers around the world. Speculation ran wild, with treasure hunters and conspiracy theorists dissecting every word. Amelia watched from afar as the world searched for a place they could never find. Yet, her conscience weighed heavily. She'd made the right choice, but at what personal cost? Her editors' questions grew sharper, her colleagues skeptical. Some accused her of fabricating the story altogether. But Amelia held firm, knowing the truth was safer hidden. Chapter 9, The Return of the Pilot. Years later, an unexpected visitor arrived at her office. A frail man with weathered skin and a distant gaze introduced himself as Thomas Grayson, a pilot who had once flown with Jack Corder. He carried with him a fragment of a map, marked with a route eerily similar to Amelia's journey. "Jack was my best friend," Thomas said. "Before he vanished, he told me about the valley. I've spent my whole life searching for it. I've seen your article. I know you've been there." Amelia hesitated, torn between loyalty to Shangri-La and compassion for this man's decades-long quest. Finally, she gave him the blue lotus flower, its petals still vibrant after all those years. "This is all I can give you," she said. Chapter 10, A New Beginning. Months later, Amelia received another envelope. Inside was a postcard of the same mountain range, but this time, the message read, "The horizon endures. Thank you." Amelia smiled, tucking the card into Jack Corder's journal. Shangri-La remained safe, its secrets preserved. And somewhere, beyond the mountains, the horizon waited to be found once more. Epilogue, Legacy of the Lost Horizon. Amelia's story became a legend of its own. Though Shangri-La remained hidden, her tale inspired a generation to look beyond the obvious, to seek the extraordinary in a world of the mundane. In her later years, Amelia often found herself staring at the horizon, wondering if she'd ever return to that golden valley. But she knew some places were meant to exist only in the whispers of the wind, the dreams of the daring, and the hearts of those who believed. Shangri-La was not lost, it was simply waiting for the right soul to find it. Amelia's journey to Shangri-La reminds us that some horizons are meant to inspire, not to conquer. The hidden valley, with its secrets and wisdom, lives on in the whispers of her story, an eternal reminder to seek wonder and protect what's truly precious. If this tale captivated your imagination, don't let it end here. Subscribe to the Hype Digest for more stories that take you to the edge of the unknown. Like, share, and comment below, what would you do if you found Shangri-La? Together, let's explore the extraordinary, glowing star.